Our one-day stay in Gyeongju was over and we started for Busan. Busan was the last leg of our journey in South Korea. The bullet train took around 40 minutes to travel from Gyeongju to Busan. We had the opportunity to travel in the first class on the bullet train. Some snacks and water bottles were the extra privileges we received in the first class. But if you ask me, the economy class was also equally better and comfortable. We reached Busan in time, and I could see even from the station that the port city was welcoming us with its vibrant colors. As the hotel we booked for our stay was within walking distance, we didn't book a cab. The Crown Harbour Hotel Busan ensured that we had a comfortable stay there. But the best part of the stay was the view from our room's window. We didn't need a drone for the bird's eye view of the city. The weather was neither hot nor cold, making it an apt one for exploring Busan. But before starting our Explore Busan mission, we wanted to have some food, like real food. To our immense happiness, Google showed us the location of an Indian Nepali restaurant in Hadan. It was a bit far away from our hotel and we had to book a cab this time. We ordered dal and Korean rice with a side dish. We were so hungry and delighted to have some Indian food finally that I completely forgot to take any pictures or videos of the food. We used the subway to return to our hotel and take some much needed rest and decided to go out in the evening later. By the time we finally went out in the evening, it was almost close to 9. The shops and restaurants were on the verge of closing. Still, we decided to stroll in the city and enjoy the night view. The city felt safe to walk around even when the businesses around were calling it a day. But we wanted an option for dinner. 7-Eleven became our go-to place after our experience in Gyeongju. And as we were content with what we had for lunch, so sandwiches, rice porridge and noodles looked like a pretty decent meal. With so many 7-Eleven stores in the city, I was assured that we would find something to eat and could concentrate only on exploring the city. But call it luck, the weather was not in our favor the next day. A heavy downpour started in the morning and showed no signs of stopping and tossed our plans upside down. But we couldn't stay inside the hotel too. Thankfully, we carried umbrellas in our suitcases and the subway was also within 5 minutes of walking distance from the hotel. Subways are one of the important and cost-effective modes of public transportation in South Korea. After issuing new passes for the subway, we boarded the train for Hadan and went to the same Indian Nepali restaurant for lunch. With the sky still leaking, we had all the time in the world to relish some onion fritters, hot soup, dal and rice and think about what we could do with the rest of the day. Shinsuke department store looked like an attractive option to spend some time. Honestly speaking, we usually spend most of our time hopping in shopping malls whenever we go out in Singapore. But this departmental store looked different. Shopping was not in our minds though, as the prices on the tags were mostly on the higher side. But we could relish some food. This is the problem with traveling. You sometimes forget where to stop. Beef and pork occupied a major share in the culinary scene undoubtedly, still we could enjoy some veg dumplings and cheese hot dogs. That was no less than some big achievement. We came out of the departmental store hoping for a clear sky, but we were disappointed. Our first day in Busan was slipping away from our hands without doing much. We changed subways and walked into a busy street doing some window shopping. It had stopped raining by then, but we didn't have much time for any sightseeing at this hour. Taste of India, another Indian Nepali restaurant, became our refuge for dinner. Indian Nepali restaurants are a norm in South Korea. I had seen one in Seoul too. The ambience was nice and so were the veg thali and thukpa. We ate to our heart's content. Oh, by the way, we also bought some cosmetics from Olive Young, which has several branches in South Korea and offers beauty products at an affordable rate. After the dinner, we took a chance and went to Hyundai Beach. It was the weekend and a drone show was supposed to happen there. But luck was not in our favor that day. The drone show had to be cancelled because of the rain. But we found locals and tourists still having a lovely time on the beach with their families and friends. We spent some time there and went back to the hotel silently praying for nice weather the next day. And looked like our prayers worked. Although cloudy, it wasn't raining the next morning, and we wasted no time to sit in a cab and start for Gamchin Culture Village. Gamchin had suffered several scars during the Korean War but still tried to preserve the cultural traces of the Korean nation. We saw many tourists roaming in hanboks in the Gamchin village, allowing Minnie to demand the traditional Korean dress. She had been eyeing it since Seoul and finally got her chance. The gorgeous costume was available for rent. We rented one for her, and she looked quite pleased with her transition into a Korean princess. The hillside roads are beautiful, and the residents live closely with each other. Gamchin village, built during the 1920s and 1930s, accommodated the working class people away from the port and yet kept them accessible to provide their services. Around 800 families shifted to this village post-Korean War. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism took the initiative in 2009 and carried out a public art-themed renovation project and turned the village into a culture hub. Art students, professional artists, and residents gave their best effort and turned the village vibrating in bright colors, attracting around 1.4 million visitors in 2015. The tourists still flock to the village to soak in the colorful atmosphere away from the city. Such is the power of art and honest effort. But above all, the little prince sits in one corner and observes the rest of the city from this village as if he keeps a close eye on everyone. The illustrated fictional character of the little prince has won many hearts in South Korea, especially in Busan, and eventually entered our hearts too. The Bib Square, the main venue of the Busan International Film Festival, was also interesting enough. Red color dominated the street and presented a busy atmosphere even on a Sunday. The little Indian restaurant looked suitable for lunch. The restaurant was nicely decorated and various posters of Indian films adorned the walls. The Bib Square was visible from the windows. We ordered Korean rice, dal and paneer. Korean rice had turned into our favorite on this trip. This sticky rice has a specific flavor which makes your meals a satisfying treat. We also enjoyed the meal along with the view of the Bib Square outside and wanted the weather to behave well for the rest of the day.